Let's see. It says you are live. Hello, everybody. So tonight we are here with my friend Eric. I'm glad to have you on the show. So this
Hi,
is
Leigh. Good to be
wonderful.
here.
This is wonderful because this is not the first time we've done a live together. I have done a live on Eric's channel, Etacude English Teachers. So it's really exciting to have him here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's always nice to chat.
Absolutely. So I was wondering, everyone, this is Eric's English channel. I was wondering, Eric, can you do a quick self intro for us? I know you, but the people in the internet might not.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name's Eric, and I'm a teacher. I grew up in South Africa, taught there for a couple of years, decided to come to South Korea. I've been here ever since. Currently, I'm teaching at a university, and I've also I started a YouTube channel for teachers because I felt like there were a lot of things not being said, and teachers need a lot of help, but there was none out there, or not very good ones. So I just thought, you know what, I'll find some information, share them with people, and hopefully people enjoy it. And I've been doing that for the past couple of years, and that's basically what I'm focusing on besides my career and my job.
Well, I think everyone has to have some like big passions and big focuses. So I love how dedicated you are to creating helpful English teacher content. So we have some greetings. Pallavi says hi, and Eric, how are you today? Pallavi, hello. And let's see, we got some hellos from Layla as well, some dear friends of mine. And oh, my friend Tanya, hi, good to see you. So a few people coming in to say hello tonight to our guest Eric. So Eric, I'll also the South Africa thing. Do you have a rule where you only move to countries whose names begin with South? South Africa, South Korea. Is that
There
the
are a lot of similarities between South Africa and South Korea, actually. I found out that,
for
um,
example?
well, South Africa is the 26th most populous country in the world, and I think Korea is number 27.
That's
Just
not random at all. Nope.
yeah.
Okay, 26th and 27th in population. That's lovely. And
Don't check it out. The numbers change, so
I
who
mean,
knows? It might be different.
ladies and gentlemen, I had trouble placing Eric's accent at the beginning when I first knew him, but now, um,
No, I
so
can't just comes
now I can.
across too easily.
That's right. Now I can imitate it on occasion, not always. Your job is interesting. I saw your YouTube channel. I really recommend his YouTube channel. He's got so many great resources, and I think from his intro, we can see that Eric's got a lot of interests. He's a professor. He teaches, but he also creates resources for us teachers. And I think you also have been quite involved in the sport of kickboxing. How did that start for you? How did you get interested in that?
Well, it's so funny, Lee. You know, I saw the thumbnail and I thought, wait, me, a kickboxer? And I thought, okay, no, it's just to let people know and to
It
you
is.
know
It
to,
is. It's for the thumbnail. It's for the views.
no, I've always been into working out and taking care of my body. So I've always been into exercise. Um, Ever since I was young, especially during school, we would play sports like rugby or do athletics, and even in between seasons, I would always be working out just at home, push ups, sit ups, and then. Um, when I came to Korea, I started going to the gym, enjoyed that, but I'm not like a heavy lifter. It's just working out to keep myself in a
Well, you don't want
general
the.
shape. Yeah, just in a general shape. I try to cut down because even with my brothers and my family, we get quite large. So I've
That's
got to
right, because
work
you
out.
you're really tall as well, though. Can you tell me again how many centimeters? It's
I'm 187 centimeters, which isn't
right,
too bad, 6'2", so it's not too
right,
bad.
right.
But
I
my
mean,
brothers are like 6'4", 6'5", and so I'm the runt of the family.
you're the short one of the family. That's wonderful.
I can
But
still take all of them. Let that be a warning.
but I think it's good to be aware, kind of family and things like some families they tend toward being a little sedentary, like they tend toward just not moving, and you got to be more active. Some families gain weight a little more easily. It's good to have in mind what you want to do. Uh, with your genetics. And Evan says, hello. And we go, I think you've met each other long ago, right? Well, as always, Layla, the answer is yes and no, because with most of my friends, we meet on the internet like a year before we meet in person. I think especially with the pandemic, right, Eric? Like it's not just that we live far away within the country of Korea. During pandemic times, it's harder for people to like physically meet each other. So
We
no,
spoke
we've
for a long time online before we actually met for the first time, what, a
yes.
month ago? Yeah, so
Yeah, and so there was like talking online through typing, and then the next level of meeting someone to me is talking to them through video, which we did
mm.
way back. So there's like texting and then video chat and then actually physically meeting. Oh man, but no, it has been quite a while. So let's see, kickboxer. That's something interesting. I'd like to know more about it. So again, this is for Eric. It's been a hobby, but I think you actually did some sparring matches with other people. Could you tell us a little bit about what kickboxing is like?
Okay, so like I said, I enjoy exercise and I go to the gym. But then there's a kickboxing gym that opened up like a minute from my house, and I thought, you know what? I never really. I was always interested in the martial arts, like most kids growing up, but there were no like facilities. Most kids my age um, did what was it? Either taekwondo or karate. But so a gym opened up near my house, and I thought, you know what? I'm working out anyway. I'm going to the gym, and that's fine. But why not try and learn a new skill while exercising? So I joined this gym, and it was so interesting because and also tough and challenging because you learn how to move your body in new ways, and you get used
Mm-mm-mm.
to the movements. And I did that for a couple of months, and I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I felt more confident because, you're put in these. It's these situations where you have to defend yourself or you have to attack,
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
and you learn. Yeah, you learn how to basically fight. So you become more confident. You learn a new skill, and I think especially the cardio was great because, like I said, I just like to work out a little bit and stretch and pick up heavy things. But actually moving around a lot, using your body was a lot of cardio, and I enjoyed it. So I did that for a couple of months. Um, and to jump forward, then I went back to South Africa
Mm.
for 2 months for vacation for my mom's birthday. And while I was there, um, I just ate and I drank and I gained 10 kilos. I weighed 100 kilograms. And I came back. And so I came back and I said, okay, well, that was fun. Now I need to get back in shape. Um, and I went back to my gym and I started exercising. And my coach actually, I was thinking, listen, this is fun. It's good, but I'm an old man. I'm never going to fight anyone. I learned some proper
Uh-uh.
skills. So I'm going to go back to the gym. I need to get into shape. I want to cut some things. And but then my coach came and he said, Eric, listen, there's an opportunity to fight in a ring, just an
Ooh.
exhibition match. And I thought about it, and when are you ever going to get a chance to get into a ring with someone and feel that just feel that competitive spirit of actually fighting?
Exactly. Wow.
Um,
So it was hard to resist such an offer.
I thought this is yeah, it's a challenge. It's something that I can do, and I can push myself even harder because you've got this thing coming up. You go and you don't want to lose badly, so you want to get ready for this. It's something to look forward to, and I thought this is probably on. It's something that you want to achieve in your life is to say, listen, I went into a ring, I faced an opponent, man to man, woman to woman. Uh, and just do my best. And the other thing was that when I train, because I'm a little
Mm.
bit larger, I always hold back, even if I'm in sparring matches with my coach, who's
Mm.
smaller but would be able to kick my ass at any time.
Mm.
And some of the larger guys, I always hold myself back because I don't want to hurt anyone. And I said, well, this is the one time where we're going to wear protective gear and I can go out and actually try and punch someone very hard.
Right, and
So
just like do it, like all out.
yeah, and that's what I told myself is let's get ready. And I'm not going to have many opportunities like this in the future, and it's something to check off on a bucket list, and
Yes.
so I prepared for that match for a couple of months.
Oh, that is so cool. I'm gonna look at some comments here, but there's so many things about that I relate to, or that connects with me. So we had a quick question here on the teaching side. We talked about kickboxing a little bit. So, what is the most challenging thing for a teacher? What do you think, Eric? That's a good question.
Okay, so the most difficult thing is confidence. A lot of teachers, when we're young, we are in class and we're told what to do. We
Mm-mm-mm.
don't learn to be leaders, to take control.
Mm.
And then, so a lot of teachers, they think, okay, I've been a good student, and now I'm just going to go into the classroom. I'm going to change education. I'm going to be Mary Poppins, and the kids are going to listen to me, and it's going to be fun. But then they're in that situation. They're in front.
It just the wide-eyed innocence of the young first-time teacher. It's so true.
Leigh, that's the first time I heard you laugh like that. That's a proper laugh.
Okay, because
Mm.
I'm always doing the pretty princess thing, but I have about 4 levels of really weird laugh. So you've unlocked one of them, sir.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
congratulations.
Nice. Okay, so a lot of teachers go into the classroom, they don't have the confidence, and then they've got to take control of the classroom, and a lot of
Mm-mm-mm.
students start challenging them because it's in our nature to, especially as kids, to find someone to see in the hierarchy who's in control and who we can
Mm-mm.
follow, because you don't want to follow a weak leader. You
Yes.
don't want to follow a weak leader because it's going to be negative for you. So a lot of students, they start acting out, challenging
Mm-mm.
teachers, and unless you've got that confidence and you've got that classroom management skill, it's going to be difficult. And that is something that's the reason I started this channel, is because I remember when I was a student teacher, we wanted answers. We didn't know what was going to happen. Nobody told us how to effectively run a classroom, and we asked teachers and nobody had answers. If they lied to us and they said just be confident, that would be better than what we got, which was absolutely nothing.
Oh, that's wonderful. You're providing that resource, because honestly, teaching, it's so little about knowing the material and presenting it well. There's so many other things involved.
Mhm.
So, good point. Oh, there we had a question about the kickboxing. Did you win your match?
Okay, so
Okay, so there was a long period of training for the match, and then I believe there
yeah,
was
and
also
and
an.
also I had to lose weight because
Mm-mm.
they matched me up with someone younger than me with a similar experience in kickboxing. It's someone, they told me, that did a lot of taekwondo and was really good, but is younger than me, and I had to lose some weight because obviously I was a bit big. So I lost some weight. So I weighed 100 kilograms, and then I went down to 88 kilograms. And my
Mm.
opponent was, I think, 82 or 83.
But still,
He
still
was
a reasonable differential there.
a big difference, and
Mm-mm-mm.
and I was very grateful to my opponent for taking the fight, because
Mm-mm.
otherwise I wouldn't have an opponent. So he was young, he was 18, so he was a senior in high school, which I also feel bad about because now I'm going to be known as the teacher that beats up high schoolers. But I also like that because now whenever somebody talks back to me, and I can be like, well, I'm renowned for fighting kids. Um,
Okay.
is that
Okay,
level two?
okay, I don't know. 1.5.
Uh,
There's a
okay.
snort. There's a snort that comes out
Yeah,
occasionally.
I thought that wasn't everything. That was maybe like 70%. Anyway, so I went into the fight, and I was nervous. A lot of people talk about fighters getting into a fight, and you think about it, and it's easy when you sit here and you think, oh, I've got to fight someone a week from now or something. But it really weighs on you, thinking, okay, I'm going to go into a match. People are going to look at me, and it's a lot of mental work that goes into that too. Is just preparing, knowing, okay, well, this is going to happen. So I knew all of that beforehand, and I prepared for it. Anyway, went into the fight, got ready. and they just push you inside. And there's this guy standing opposite you. And now this is very interesting. He was a young guy, as tall as I am, skinnier, obviously. And the thing is, he kept eye contact with me. So he tried to stare me down, which is very strange for a student to do.
Yeah.
Or a young guy in Korea. Imagine a guy just standing there trying to. And I think he did it for either one of two reasons. The first one is maybe, trying to psych me out or trying to show me that he's going to fight me for real. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. Let's get in there. And so went in, touched gloves. And I said, okay, you know what? The one thing I'm afraid of is freezing. So I just want to get that first shot in. And immediately went out, touched gloves, gave a kick and a punch. And then as soon as I landed, and we started exchanging, and he was very nimble. He had a lot of kicks. But as soon as I landed a jab and it connected, and I thought, that's it. He's because he only kicked, his punches weren't doing anything, and as soon as I connected, I knew this was just a fun fight. And went in there, fought the first round, caught him a few times, especially with boxing. The thing is, Taekwondo is really artistic, and they learn how to kick. It's a beautiful sport, but it's not an effective a method of fighting, because you need a lot of space and your hands are down for balance. And if you go into a guy to fight him with your hands down, it's not good. So he had his hands down, but whenever he would automatically lower his hands to do a kick, and I just evaded. And at one point I caught his kick and I tripped him. I threw him over. But nobody told me that in this specific fight that was against the rules. And the ref separated us, went to different corners. And I was there. I was like, "No, don't end the fight. I'm so sorry." And I apologize to him, I just say, "I'm sorry." The ref says, "Okay, let's continue." And I'm like, "Okay." I say sorry to him. I didn't know. And I went in there, and then I found so he needs distance. He needs to be away from me to try his kicks. And I just said, "Listen, I've been punched in the face before. We've got gloves on. We've got protective gear." So I just got in there. And I started getting into, getting close to him, and he couldn't do much. They end the round, and then quickly get water. Second round, we exchange. But now I've started.
Okay, so Eric, can you sum it up a little bit? Can we get to the what was the conclusion?
Okay, sorry. So I started getting the timing right. He threw a kick, and I blocked it, and I stepped in, and I punched him, and he couldn't continue anymore.
Oh, okay. So no, you got it.
Sorry, guys, for the long story.
No. I'm
reliving it.
No. I'm enjoying the story. I gotta know, how many rounds was this?
It was 2 rounds. Got a TKO in the second round.
But I feel like, though, like you went through like the entire hero's journey in it. Like there's that moment of concern, like he's not acting like a normal like Korean athlete would behave with eye contact. And then there's the concern that you'll freeze, but you don't. And then there's like the near failure of like the match could be completely over because you accidentally made a mistake. So I don't know. I feel like you participated in the archetypal fight. So
but there's more to it if you'd like to know.
Okay.
Fight ended, and I'm just so distraught because I was having fun. And afterwards, they tell me, "Eric, do you want another fight? There's someone that's a student, your weight, not as tall as you, but your weight. Will you take another fight in a couple of matches?" I said, "Sure, why not?" And it was another fighter. They set it up a couple of matches later. I'm in there again. This time, a beefier guy with gloves raised, and he just rushes me. Instead of me trying to like feel things out, he just comes towards me and starts swinging, tries to grab my gloves. And and then I don't know, something went off. And basically, I just the first round, as soon as I started measuring distance, and as soon as he gets close, I just hit him and move out of the way. Beat him up the first round. Second round, he goes down, goes back up, and then he comes towards me, uppercut, ends the fight. He's down, and I just go and won that fight.
Okay, so second one also, and again, lovely that it's a very different opponent, very different style, but you kind of like that's got to be a great feeling though, like to have done well. So we got, I think one of your people, Arturo says, "What a wonderful surprise, Eric.
Arturo,
Good morning."
he's in
Oh,
Mexico.
thank you, appreciate that. Let's see. Layla, my friend Layla from Saudi Arabia. Do you think it's easy for a woman to learn kickboxing, or is it kind of hard? Eric, could
No,
I learn? Could I
actually,
learn
when
it?
I first started, most of the other fighters were female,
Hmm.
and they were so good, so athletic, and they just loved it. And I think anyone can learn it. If I have a son or daughter one day, I'll definitely push them to try something like this because it's really good exercise.
And I love the way you talk about kickboxing in the sense of not just the cardio, the fact that it's a good way to to move your body like running or swimming,
Mm.
but also like the using your brain and using your problem solving logic. There's something about combat sports and martial arts that's really problem solving in such a quick succession. Like you have to solve the problem with your body in the moment. And I think that's so good for brain development, actually, from what I've heard.
It's a balance. It's about being an athlete and having an instinct, or being
Mhm.
calculated. Yeah, it's definitely a few things that go into it.
So is there, Evan says, you feel there's a part overlapping approach you bring with yourself when it comes to teaching kickboxing? Ooh, nice question. Is there an overlap,
Definitely.
do you think?
Definitely. I mean, the way that you learn, by is it by working in a group to practice skills? Is it finding a partner to work with? And then it's also a different side of preparation. I think there are a lot of overlapping skills, especially when it comes to the learning process, that apply to both.
Oh, I think that sounds true. Like the energy you bring to anything. When you were talking about kickboxing earlier, it really made me think of like my experiences in technically bodybuilding is what you call it, even though I've competed in evening gown division. And you were talking about like how much preparation goes into it, and then also something that connected with me is how you said in the past you would kind of hold yourself back, and because you're a bigger person you never wanted to hurt anybody. And for me, I always thought in my life for like photos and things, I would never like really overdo my poses or my
Holding
appearance
back.
because um more about not wanting to look vain. So I would hold back just in the way I look like for photos and stuff. But on stage, like everything is exaggerated. Everything is, I'm the most gorgeous creature in the universe. And that's part of it. And you have to just go and overdo it and lean into it. So I think it's good to challenge yourself with, like you said, for you, a match, like
Yeah.
actually doing it in front of
Having
people and
this
stuff.
test you're preparing for. Oh, and one more way that teaching and kickboxing applies. It's the willingness to beat up teenagers. Uh,
Okay. I like that one.
uh,
For and Pallavi had said thank you for answering that question. The okay, and Layla said I enjoyed the long, fantastic story about kickboxing. So it was liked and well received by all, Eric.
Thank you, Layla.
No, I like hearing about it too. The so I wanted to ask you a little bit about this if you talk about it for a second, because you mentioned it briefly in your self intro, but we both live in South Korea in different corners of it.
Yeah,
And how did you first come to Korea, Eric? How long have you been here?
I've been here a long time.
A long time.
Yeah, the first time coming to Korea, it was kind of an experience. I grew up in South Africa, and it's dark. At night, everybody lives apart, and it's dark, and you go to bed at a reasonable hour. And then you come to Korea, and it's just these bright lights everywhere. And I think it's going to be, most foreigners that come here, they say, okay, listen, I'm going to stay here for a year. And I came in with that mindset as well. I thought, okay, well, I'll check it out. I'll try it out for a year. I started at a hog one, actually, which was really tough. A lot of
So
work that you had to do.
for the people that don't know, can you say what a hagwon is and how it's different from
Hogwarts
a
is an
public
English
school?
academy. Students go there after school to practice English and to learn. And usually you work from 1 to 9 or 10. There are
Would
differences. There are many different types of schools, but that was the environment I was in. You don't get many days off, and you work very hard. Yeah, many hours.
so would you recommend working at a hagwon as a first job option for someone coming to Korea?
If you don't have the qualifications or the experience, you get into a hug one. If you can't get into a public school, I would say, if it's possible, try and get into a public school. They take a little bit better care of you, and you've got more cover. They cover for you, and you've got more days off. But if you want to get the experience and you're excited about teaching, I would say, as a young person, if you're new, come to Korea, try it out. The one thing about teaching at a hug one compared to teaching at a university or perhaps a public school is it's easier to make friends because you're part of a community. Maybe you have some other teachers too. Whereas if you're teaching at a public school, especially if it's rural, or if you're teaching at a university, it's more difficult to make. I feel like it's more difficult to become part of that teaching community if you're not at a hog one.
That's a good point. That hagwons are private academies that usually employ many, many foreign English teachers, and so you kind of have a built-in community. Whereas with public school or university, you got to work for those friendships, man. They do not just come up. You have to be very active in creating your friends. Let's see. We had a question here. Did you wrestle with your brothers a lot growing up? And if so, do you feel that influences your fondness for contact sports?
My older brother used to beat me up occasionally. Yeah, that's about it. But no, yeah, we wrestled a lot. But growing up in South Africa, most boys play rugby, which is a really tough
Mm-mm-mm.
sport. So I was used to that contact. It's a tough sport. So I was used to it, So I kind of embraced it because there's also this mentality that if you're from South Africa, you're tough, and you'll see it in a lot of the sports that you don't go down easy, and it's part of our heritage, I would say. So yeah, no, that toughness and physical contact is just part of who we are. I've got lots of well, not there, but I've got lots of scars and things all over my face of where
Oh,
I got
oh.
injured. Yeah.
I think for me, contact sports, like for my future children, when I think about that, I want to be careful about head protection, like brain stuff. But I don't necessarily think that contact sports are bad in any way, because a little force, a little trauma, like just a little roughness in a life is making them more resilient and stronger overall. I think there can be a lot of good stuff there. Oh, so we have a hello from I think one of your friends, Eric. So we had a question over here too. Teacher Eric, how to handle strict teachers? Because Pilavi's a student. So what's your advice on how a student can deal with a strict teacher?
Okay, so teachers are people too, and obviously that teacher took on this persona of being very strict for their classes. So just see them as a teacher, but don't see them as that strict person being perhaps who they are. They might be. So treat them as a person, and I would say follow their lead. You know, but don't see yourself as listen to your teacher. I think that's very important. Listen to your teacher. They're there to help you, and but don't feel yourself threatened by their strictness. So
Mm-mm-mm.
follow them, but see it as them just putting on a show, being strict in order to control the classroom. Maybe that's who they are. Maybe it's not. But just if you think about them as a person and not just this force, this strict person trying to hurt you, then it's much easier to deal with it. I just recently heard this quote where it said that whenever you think of someone that does something bad to you as someone that's doing it because they're trying to fill a void, it's easier to think of those things. So let's say someone does something to hurt you. Don't see it as a way of them hating you, but rather as a way for them to make their life a little bit, trying to fill a void in their life. And just that perspective switch of like, it's not because of you. It's not because, it's something they're dealing with. It makes it a little bit easier.
And I think one thing students can never fully understand is how many people the teacher has to answer to. If you're a teacher or a professor, you're not just handling the 20 or 30 students in the classroom and dealing with their grades. If you're in a public school, you're potentially dealing with the parents as well. You're always dealing with administration. Maybe a strict teacher is having to answer to several administrative people or principals or deans or superintendents about how they're teaching. Maybe they're under pressure to act in that strict way. You can't
Let me give
know.
if I can give another example. When I first started teaching, I was at a very tough school. It was a mixed school, many difficult students, the principal, the other teachers. We didn't get a lot of support. And I survived 2 years. And then I moved to a different school where it was really nice. The students were kind and pleasant. But I created this thing of I'm going to go in there and I'm not going to smile until Christmas. And even though my class, I think my classes were good, I was very strict and I enforced that. And that's perhaps not who I really am, or who I was. So now, but that's something I felt I had to do to be coming from this really bad school, that I'm not going to have those difficult 2 years ago again. So yeah, just to make sense. Usually in class, I'm very polite. But I can switch if a student pushes me, or if I feel like that's necessary. Like if students start acting out, I'm going to switch on and become more strict. But for that whole year, I never smile, or I rarely smiled, and classes were still fun. The students enjoyed it. Got a lot of great feedback, but I was more strict just because I had this bad experience before.
Oh, again, it comes back to what you said earlier about teachers being people. And again, from the student's perspective, so hard to really see that. And yet they're usually acting as a result of some difficulty they have experienced or are currently experiencing. Let's see. This one was interesting. What category of accents do you classify your accent? Is it a British accent? Is a Saffir accent British?
I used to have a really lovely British accent. I remember I got complimented it on a lot, and then I came to Korea and it kind of changed, And I don't think for the worse. I still enjoy the way that I speak. I just want to be clear to my students, but I guess it's a bit of a mix. But the base
It's a
is
bit
still
of a
good.
mix.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So South African accent's a little bit different, but let's see. It's another. Thank you. Trying to do my best with the rabbit
I don't
ears.
have bunny ears on. Where's my bunny ears? I
That's
think I'm thinking of someone
you.
else.
I know you should. You should also get some. You should definitely have some of these, Eric. As a kickboxing teacher, that's right. Like a teacher who kickboxes, not a teacher of kickboxing.
I think
That would.
the scariest teachers are the ones with throwing arms, the ones that are very accurate at throwing things. I think those are the scariest teachers.
Oh, hi. Good to see you. Good to see you too. Thank you for coming. That's right. No one would dare to act out against a teacher who is so skilled at combat sports. So I had wanted to ask you this was an interesting question. I like to ask people, who's your fitness role model or body goals person? So if there's no one that you want to like look like physically, is there an athlete you would like to perform like?
Okay, well, I think most men my age, if you ask them, what body would you like to have? I think most men would say Brad Pitt in
Hit
Fight
Fight
Club.
Club.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm going to say
I
something.
support that. I support anyone's pursuit of the
And you
Brad
know
Pitt and Fight Club
who
body. Please,
who
guys.
really surprised me too? Um, Ryan Reynolds prepared for a fight, or for a role. He was always,
Mm-mm.
if you've seen him before, he's just this lanky, tall guy.
Oh.
And then he prepared for a role, and I just remember seeing him like ripped, six pack. I was like, funny and like ripped. That's awesome.
I think a lot of his success, like you can see, he's so funny. But then when it's paired with that ability to just dedicate himself to something,
Mm,
so like it shows when you're dedicated in one area, like physical
mm.
fitness, it spins off in other things.
Funny,
So yeah.
I saw an interview with him where he said that he doesn't like to do his own stunts. He gets into shape, but he got injured once and he
Oh
doesn't
my.
want to do it. And actually, I learned a lot more from that. It's like you don't have to do what everybody else is doing or what everyone else expects from you. Do what you think is best for you. And I kind of, I appreciated him being upfront about him not being like some of the other stars, like, man, I do my own stunts, I prepare for them. He's like, no, I get into shape, I try and look good, I smile for the camera, and then the professionals take over.
And I think that's so important in regard to fitness, but just any aspect of life too, is defining success for yourself and working really hard, but not having to match everyone else's effort across all categories. You can't
Yeah.
do that. So pick
uh,
what matters to you.
I want to say something that's going to bring me down a little bit, but there's one more body, person or character that
Okay.
I actually look up to, and a lot of people, I'm sorry, a lot of people will say the same thing, and that is from anime. When you see someone like Goku from Dragon Ball, and you
Okay.
just see this guy with huge muscles, which is unattainable, but it's that goal of looking like Goku. A lot of guys think that.
I know. I think that's so interesting because the further you get away from reality, like already anything in film or Instagram is filtered and airbrushed, etc. But then when you get off into other things, like me too, I've got like this Sailor Moon complex. I would also like legs that are 7 feet tall, but you can't without getting femur implants.
Mm,
It's not going to happen.
mm,
So that's interesting that maybe a lot of our ideas, men and women, of what kind of body we should have can be increasingly influenced by absolutely non-real media.
yeah, but we
So
understand that it's not real. But I think it's that drive to pursue that goal. It's like, man, I want to look like Goku, so I'm going to do 1,000 sit-ups or something like that.
yeah, for me, it's like, okay, gotta get into the leg lengthening shop. I don't know how would I even do that? I
Uh,
don't know. So let's see. Do we have and we got a hello everyone, Cavino. Hello, darling. Do you know Cavino, Eric? He's one of our very young people. He's Canadian. Ryan Reynolds. Oh, hello, Professor Curmudgeon. Yes, Ryan Reynolds. The best thing Canada has ever produced, possibly. I don't know.
Maybe I
He's
think it's
he's
something. Yeah,
he's up there. Maple
uh,
syrup. Ryan Reynolds and the moose, the majestic
the
moose.
moose, the mighty moose.
That's right. I like British accent or accents that are similar to it. I try to mimic it, but it's a little difficult for me. Eric's accent is fabulous. Well, there you go, Eric.
Yeah,
The
I wish I could do accents. It's something I'm terrible at, so I don't even try. So I'm stuck with whatever accents I've got at the moment.
the mimicking other people's accents is incredibly fun. So even though you said you can't do accents, can you point out for Layla a few differences? So, is there anything that you know that Sapphirs say different? And again, Layla, it's a little bit hard because there are at least 8 really distinct British accents, like very, very different from each other.
Even in South
So,
Africa, you've got the different
mm-mm.
dialects where if you go down to the Cape, it's different from going to the north. Yeah, it's very difficult. If I had some time, I'll think about it. I'm sure there are, but I can't point it out. But you can definitely, you've got different South African accents too, So Layla, I would love to give you some examples, but I can't think of any, off of the top of my head.
For me, there's something about the flatness of the vowels that makes, for me, when I hear you speak, Eric, I feel like a little Aussie or Zealander mixed in with British. Like that's what I'm getting on some of the vowels. So I'm probably not entirely accurate on that, but
It's interesting. Matt Damon did a
Mhm.
role, and he played South African captain Francois Pienaar. And
Mm.
he said he tried to get the South African accent for a year, and he couldn't like master it. And it's the same with, I actually think that Leonardo DiCaprio played in Blood Diamond,
Blood
where
Diamond.
he wasn't South African. He was actually, I think he was Zimbabwean. And
Mm-mm.
he actually did a good job, but I can clearly hear the difference between,
Right, that it's
him
not the
trying to
same.
sound South African. So it's a very difficult accent too. I can't even do a proper South. I can't do a South African accent anymore. It's just a bad
The
rise.
for me, in South Korea, there are many different flavors of English speaking foreigner, and so you hear people speak, and you go, okay, that's obviously American, that's obviously England,
Mm.
and you hear some Irish, but when I don't know where someone's from, they're always from South Africa. It's that in between. Is they're an activity that helps you be completely yourself and de-stress when not teaching or kickboxing. Having to wear situational masks for teaching must be hard to keep up. So Eric is also an avid knitter in his spare time. He makes little jackets for the less fortunate. So
For the less
that's
fortunate and for pets, and if
little
you
pet
want one of
jacket
my no,
for, for
so
hamsters.
to de-stress. So yeah, oh, by the way, in the fight, I
Mm.
broke my finger.
Oh,
Um,
second fight.
in the well, what happened in the second fight is, I told you, he started coming up to me,
Mm-mm-mm.
and I pushed away, and I hit a really hard right, but my finger got caught in the glove, and it basically broke. and
Oh.
and that's why with I said I had to uppercut him to take him out. I knew that there was something wrong with my hand, so I couldn't strike with my power right, and that's why I jab, kicked, and then I went
Mm-mm.
with the uppercut with my left hand to knock him out. I had to in the second round,
Mm.
and so I knocked him out, and then afterwards, broke my finger, had to get surgery.
Mm.
So I haven't been able to actually go to the gym for the past 6 months. I haven't been able to go to the gym, and it's difficult for me because I need that time to. I go to the gym without my phone, and I exercise for an hour or two,
Mm, mm,
and I
mm,
need
mm.
that quiet time. Now, what do I do now to stay in such average shape? I actually, what I like to do is, right before I take a shower in the morning, I've got this set of stretches, and I do some calisthenics where I do push ups and sit
Mm,
ups
mm,
and
mm,
just body weight exercises before I take a shower. And I enjoy that. And I think it's a habit that you need to build these fitness habits, and it's easy if you connect it to another habit you already have. So that's something I did. So I do that. But one thing that I've found helped me a lot is, but I haven't done it consistently in a long time, is guided meditation. Um, there
Ah,
are some great programs out there. Which one am I using? I don't remember the guy's name, but it's basically 10 or 15 minutes of just a guided meditation. And I always tell myself,
headspace?
Eric, Headspace. Yeah,
Mm.
Headspace. What's that guy's name from Headspace? But he's
Oh
so
gosh,
good.
is it Sam Harris?
It's the
No,
bald
no,
guy,
no.
the
Yep,
guy that was a monk for 10 years. Um,
yep.
but he's
Name not.
amazing. So downloaded that, and I haven't used it in a long time. And I always tell myself, Eric, you know what? You need to de-stress. You need that time. And I haven't done it in a while. I need to get back to it.
So there you go. Okay, so everyone in the audience, please hold Eric Teacher accountable for this. He needs to. Uh, okay, Eric, your number one
No,
fan who
no.
might be
Listen,
who might.
listen, listen. The one thing, okay, so I work out, and I always do, like, with push-ups, I do chest and abs, and even at where I am now, average, I'd rather show you my chest and my abs because they're good. But the one thing
Oh,
I
is it
I
is
gave I gave my dumbbell to a friend a couple of like last year. So now I've got
Mm-mm.
nothing to work out my guns. So
Oh,
I
I
feel like
see.
the one thing that's horrible is like I don't have guns anymore. It's
Oh,
like nothing, you know?
it's
So
everyone
yeah.
has like different muscle groups that
Mm,
naturally form like really
yeah.
beautifully or really well, and then
Yeah.
we all have other muscle groups that's like I work this every day and it
Mm,
doesn't. So everyone's got instead, let me see if I can, let's see how I can move the arm out. So I was working out today
nice.
in Seoul with a group of people. We're doing body profile together, so it's like 30
Cool.
people, and half of them are trainers, so it's really intimidating. But
But I've been thinking about the body profile thing because I'm getting older, and I feel like when I was young, 16
mm-mm,
until college, like I said, I did sports and I worked out a lot. And when I went to the beach or to the pool, I was ripped, like
mm-mm.
really ripped. And I'm so at that time I was so shy to get in front of a camera, and I regret not being able to actually, take some photos so I can show, my kids or grandkids, listen, this is what I look like. No Photoshop. So I feel like and now that I've lost some weight, and if I can get back into the gym, especially next year, I want to try and
Ooh.
get into ultimate shape at least once, just to do a body profile shoot.
Oh, you should do that. And again, like we've always wanted to do some content together on something like that. Like we can.
Eric's number one fan. I wonder who that is. Hi.
No,
I
oh,
haven't
you,
even
you,
read it
you
now.
know,
I just thought show us your guns, and I'm like, oh no.
do you know who that is? I know the icon. I know who it is.
Mm,
Mm. So
what's it, Eric?
someone from Canada.
Uh,
So someone whose house you've stayed at.
Canada's second best thing,
Canada's
second
second
best
best
export.
exports. That's right. I want to see the an arm wrestling video with me and somebody, or with Eric and somebody, or me and Eric. Depends on if he uses his broke hand. I could win. I could only win by cheating. Only win by cheating. The let's see, what is it? When did you exactly break your foot? When was that? What month of the year? That was
That
2000.
was during the fight. So that
Okay,
was,
okay.
I think, when was the fight? In April? No, July. It was right before summer break, because the fight was right. Wait, it was July. Yeah, it was July, because early July, because I was just about to go to Thailand. So the fight was right before that, and yeah. So
And
uh, um,
how are you in the recovery process? How close are you to?
So
Is
here's the
it?
thing. So it was right before I went to Thailand. So I knew something was wrong, but I didn't have time. My flight was the like 2 days later. I had to go up to Seoul. I had
Uh,
to fly, and I thought, well, maybe I just sprained my finger or did something, and I left it, and it swelled up. Eventually, a month later, I come back to Korea, go to the doctor, and he said, "You were supposed to come here immediately. You've been going around with a broke hand." I was like, "Yeah, well, it wasn't that bad." And he's like, "No, you need to get surgery soon." So got surgery. I was in the hospital for 2 days, and then I went back for checkups and things. I don't think it's ever going to be the same,
okay.
but yeah. So, but it's not great. It's
So
it's difficult to pick things up. I can pick things up, but it's still
mm-mm,
really
it's not.
painful if I pick up heavy objects.
I'm sorry, dear. I'm so sorry you had to suffer that. So I think one thing to say to people is not necessarily to avoid sports or even to avoid martial arts, but if you do sustain any kind of injury, always be careful to avoid it if you can.
Mhm.
If you do get injured in any way, even if you think it's nothing, please get it checked immediately.
100%.
Mm-mm.
Go check it
That
out.
is
Don't wait for it to get better. Rather go and check it out.
the so this was something good, because I know you know so many like great quotes and great advice pieces. So I wanted to ask you, what's the best advice you ever gotten? It can be totally random, it can be related to English teaching, can be anything.
Oh, I just wanted to give you some really corny advice, like be yourself.
Be yourself. Everyone else is taken.
Oh.
shoot for the stars. Even if you miss, you'll land on the
You
moon. What
land
is
in
it?
the moon, or
Okay, this is the opposite. Oh,
best advice.
um, dance
Mm.
like no one's watching. Oh God,
No,
there's so
I
many.
guess, I guess, don't be afraid of failure, and also, it's most advice is generic, but there are, there's some truth in it, and I would say, focus, find something to focus on.
Ooh.
And that pursuit of whatever goal you set might change, but at
Hmm.
least you're growing and you're improving and you're finding something. And I think a lot of us are, me too, in my 20s I was very passive. I waited for things to happen instead of thinking clearly about what my goals are and pursuing those. So yeah, I would say focus, find something, find goals, and pursue them, because um, it's so sad when I see people, just living, what is the thing, just going through life, without
Hmm.
affecting anyone or affecting themselves, really.
Oh, that's wonderful, Eric. I really like that. The idea of focus on something and pursue it, passionately pursue it consistently. And it's okay if it changes.
Mm,
But I think it almost doesn't matter what it is, whether that's, higher education or a sport. The way you grow from aiming yourself at this one thing and going all out
mm,
for it, you become a better human being. And then it's okay if your course changes after that, but
mm.
you have to start by setting a destination and moving toward that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. I
ooh,
think,
that's a good one.
yeah, there's a lot of books about success and things like that, and I enjoy listening to those, because always there might be something in there. But yeah, it's just do something, instead of being
No, no.
instead of being a passenger. Every now and again, just walk over to the driver and be like, "Hey, are you sure we know where we're going?" And look out the window. Don't get stuck on your smartphone and forget the journey on the way to wherever you're
Exactly. Be the hero of your own story, please. Everyone, don't be a sidekick in your own life story.
going.
So everyone, Eric needs to go in about 3 minutes. So 2, 3 minutes here. Let's be wrapping up. Let's get in those final questions. Be yourself. What?
Everybody else is taken. Yeah,
And
uh,
no
uh,
one even knows what that means.
mm,
Let's see. Let's see. Layla said, "Thank you for your wise advice. I really enjoyed this interview." And it's another reason I was looking forward to talking to you, Eric, is that you have so many great ideas, and I always feel lucky to listen to you. I feel lucky to get to talk to you. So, being here and helping you like share your advice a little bit was is wonderful. And Evan had mentioned that injury recovery and avoiding proper checkup. It sounds familiar. So Evan suffered something very similarly. So I think your
hope you
story
get well
resonates,
soon, Evan.
with a
Yeah,
lot of people.
yeah.
That's pretty standard. So let's one final question from me just before you go. Uh, what's the biggest lesson you've learned this year, 2022?
Go to the doctor when you need to. No, I feel like,
Oh, congratulations! You unlocked the dolphin sound.
I didn't even focus on that. I was like, I was thinking of that was such a nice question. So I was deep in thoughts, and then like you unlocked the dolphin sound. I'm like, wait, where am I? What's going on? What is this even?
No,
No,
no, no, no. Continue.
no. I do feel, reflecting on my year. I feel like a lot of things have changed, but a lot of things also have stayed the same, and I feel like time is running out, and not on anything specific, but I
Mm-mm.
feel like I need to make a conscious effort to be in a different place next year,
That's right.
instead of
Strike
just
while
being
the
in the,
iron's hot. Mm-mm.
and yeah, just you know yeah, instead of just being a passenger. I said that before, but now, if think about what you really want in the next year, in the next 6 months, and pursue
Mm-mm.
that, because right, this year I feel like a lot of good things have happened, but I'm still in I'm not where I want to be. So
Mm-mm-mm.
um, I want to actively move towards that. And I had a lot of fun experiences, but I should be more conscious of the unconscious things that are happening in my life.
Oh, that's marvelous, and an encouragement for me as well. That's a word for me to remember. All right, everyone. So we're going to say goodbye to Eric for today. We were so delighted to have him. Eric, thanks for visiting, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.